Good morning and welcome to the judges. Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers. Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of Frsis 2023. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges today. The chief judge is YM Angkuruman Harizam Tuan Ahmad, Entrepreneur Development Manager, Yayasan Pembangunan Usahawan Terengganu. The second judge is Ms. Nur Zafarini binti Norizal from SBPI Integrasi Kubang Pasu. The third judge is Ms. Cassandra Charles Gita from Sekolah Menengah Sains Labuan. And I, Naim Manila binti Mama Azam from Sekolah Menengah Sains Cebu, while the timekeepers, Nurul Ain Zahira binti Yuzri and Marin Fakihah binti Amran are from Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Mahmud Terengganu. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will run once at the 9-minute and twice at the 10-minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. And now, I would like to invite from the first team, Royal Military College, to present.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I be the judges, timekeepers, reporters, moderators, technical assistants, and all members of the floor. So today, before we begin, let me start with a brief introduction of our team members. So first of all, we have Tuan Haris Bendel acting as our reporter, and we have Ali Azhar as the technical assistant, dan Intan as our advising teacher, and I, Sharaf Ali Hussaini, as the presenter, and today we are the representatives of the Royal Military College for 11th edition Frsis. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever went to school to receive education and were denied access simply because you are a Muslim wearing a hijab, or simply because you are a female? Well, of course, the obvious answer is, I believe no, since we are Malaysians living in Malaysia. So, and Malaysia is a country that happens to practice equality within the education system. However, the same cannot be said for some other countries and some other communities around the globe. So, what is the problem statement of our research? So, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is quite a huge problem. The problem is quite a huge problem due to the fact that our own Prime Minister had to talk about it at a UN conference not so long ago. So the problem is that the persistent presence of bias, hindering equitable education and fostering hostile atmospheres for marginalized students, affecting their studies along with Muslim and religion-based students. So what is the objectives of our research that we have? So first of all, it is to uncover specific instances of bias, specific instances which will only focus on the country France and Afghanistan, where there are people that struggle to receive education in an equal environment. So it is our research also to comprehend the impact that on students that are victim to this inequality, And of course, we want to propose actionable solutions to foster inclusivity in the education system. So, what does it mean by solutions? Well, solutions to things like how we upkeep the Muslim community in education and how we determine the equality of Muslims in our daily lives. Okay, so this is basically our methodology. So, it is how we have conducted our research. We use a qualitative type of research method, meaning we have gone through 4 different types of articles, 4 different types of articles, that being articles, literature reviews, documents, and also we have also gone through news articles. So we basically use common data analysis, meaning we extract data from those articles or documents and other things, and we interpret it into our presentation for leaving only valuable insights. So we have also sampled from 2 main countries, that being France and Afghanistan. However, there are obviously more countries than this, including Sweden and Iran. However, we only reduce ourselves to these 2 simply because it is more simple and it is more narrowed down. Okay, so here is like what Sharafat said earlier, the specific instances of what has occurred in our daily lives. So the first instance showing that France has banned the bias within schools since 2010. Not only that, they have also suspended students from wearing the hijabs within schools. Now, of course, they suspend people only when they keep disobeying the French Ministry of Education. Now, when this occurs, they will obviously be suspended, which is quite the tough discipline. Okay. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, we can see that the Taliban are denying access to education for women. So in Afghanistan, if you are simply born female, you basically cannot receive higher education simply because you are born female. Okay, next slide. So let's talk about the impacts towards these communities, towards these countries. So this will be our second findings. So first of all, within France, it has triggered the creation of private Muslim schools. So as you know, the France has banned the wearing of hijabs within their school environment. So Muslim students, now they cannot wear the hijabs, which is mandatory for basically Muslim females. They cannot wear the hijab and receive education at schools. So the solution to this is to make their own private Muslim schools so that they can wear the hijab and receive education at the same time. So obviously, school environment feels less conducive for minorities in this case, which is the Muslim females, as they feel less comfortable and less conducive. So meanwhile in Afghanistan, 1.2 million women has been denied access to colleges and secondary schools. Ladies and gentlemen, 1.2 million human beings were denied access to education simply because they were born female, ladies and gentlemen. So, due to the fact that the Taliban did this, they restricted education for females. There have been withdrawal of foreign aid services to the country itself. Foreign aid services including foreign aid services from the United States and the NATO. Aid services including things such as medical aids, financial aids, and of course education aids itself. So what are the efforts done? So the efforts done is basically vocational training given to Afghanistan women. Now what kind of vocational training? Well, jobs like animal husbandry, tailoring and knitting, and even self-help groups and saving programs. Now, this has led to women being prepared to receive an income and invest in their own savings. Their savings were, well, their income before this was limited to a budget of 16 US cents, and now after these programs, it has increased to $28 and 24 cents. So now we look at France for an instance, okay? So what the Muslims have been doing is they have basically been advocating for their rights to wear the hijab and, well, basically human rights, basically. And they have also been combating stereotypes and misconceptions surrounding Islam. So basically terrorists, 9/11, all those kinds of things, which is why people are afraid of Muslims in the first place, even though that was 20 years ago. Okay, so now we go on to our suggestions and how we will solve this issue. So you can see that what we are going to do is we will try to get the mainstream media to help foster the multiracial harmony among their audience. Because what the mainstream media is doing right now is they are basically spreading false information about Muslims. They're still talking about things like terrorists, 9/11. They're still talking about things like that. But what they should be doing is defending us for what we go through every single day and the discrimination that we face. Now we can also take examples from Arabian countries and how they handle education. So basically, this will of course promote diversity and inclusivity within the students. Now, what we mean by small things matter is we can take an example from Malaysia, for instance, right? Do you see? Look around you. There are multiple types of religions. There are multiple types of races in your schools. Now, we respect each other, and that's what makes it a small thing. But it's not like we discriminate against each other. Now, that's what makes it effective. Next slide. So earlier I did mention solutions to how we upkeep the Muslim community in education and how we determine the equality. So that the first question is how we upkeep the Muslim community in education. So we can ensure a safe and supportive environment for Muslim students, and we can also address their unique needs and foster a sense of security. Now for the second question, how we determine the equality, is we can get governments to implement and enforce laws against discrimination. The media should portray Muslims accurately, as I said earlier, to counter the stereotypes. Now, next slide. So, to conclude our research, the challenge that are being faced by communities, especially the female and Muslim communities around the world, the challenge is the focus on educating women, Muslims, and religion students, emphasizing integration. So, what are the solutions? The solutions here involve tailored education, higher education enhancement, and obviously countering stereotypes. Why there happens to be inequality in the first place. And then the main goal of our research is equality and support for the Muslim community in education, so that we can foster a world where everyone can receive education equally. So I believe that is all for today, and then here are the citations. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I would like to invite any participants to ask questions. My question is, why do you specifically focus on reducing the inequality in France, focusing on gender inequality, when in reality, Malaysia has a lot to solve problems, such as inequality in access divide, digital divide. Please answer my question, and great presentation.
Okay, let me answer your question. It is because the inequality that occurs within Malaysia is not on such a huge scale. They still manage to receive education even without the things you said just now. They still have the ability to receive education. Meanwhile, in these other countries like Afghanistan, if you happen to watch my presentation just now, you can see that they do not receive education at all. And if, as you can see, as I can see, you are wearing a hijab, right? If you went to France to receive education and wear a hijab, that will not be possible for you. So to us, that seems to be a bigger problem than for us Malaysians here, than for the problems that are being faced here in Malaysia. So thank you. I hope that answers your question.
But wrong in the fact that we make media transform by making that mainstream media full by people that don't like now they say taking that for the people that own the media and want that easy So how do you think you going to do the media to foster the harmony, because even they are
so you see that the mainstream media itself is racist, as being said by you, the France media, for example. So there are still other medias available around the globe. Like we are trying to promote inclusivity on a global scale. So there are other mainstream media than France. So for example, like Malaysia and Asian countries and other Western countries, they still have the ability to promote this inclusivity using their media. So it doesn't necessarily have to be France, since you know France itself is a racist country. So other countries can help doing so. I hope that answers your question.
You say that and your review were based on that, right?
Yes.
Please share maybe one takeaway from what we insight.
Okay. Women4Women.org has given vocational training to women4women.org. It's an organization online. Yeah, they have helped Afghanistan women. They have solved their education crisis basically, because like I said earlier, they have before the vocational training with jobs like animal husbandry, tailoring and knitting, they were only gaining an income of 16 US cents, and after that that went to 28 US dollars and 24 cents. Not only this, however, there's also other things that the site has said, which is, first of all, the first one being, it was about how women, because they receive that kind of income, they cannot go anywhere. They look up to people like female pilots, which is why they have also got females with really good jobs like pilots, police, to this kind of vocational training, so that these women will feel inspired, so that they have something to aspire to and a goal to achieve because of this. Thank you. I hope that answers your question. Yes.
Thank you, presenters. Now, let's hear from the second team, SBPI Integrasi KUANTAN, to present. Assalamualaikum and a pleasant morning, everyone. Welcome to the 11th Fully Residential Schools International Symposium Frsis 2023 here in Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Mahmud Setsma, Kuala Nerus, with the theme Global Peace and Prosperity. We are from SBPI Integrasi Kuantan Intake are assigned to Subteam 5 on SDG 10 Reduce Inequality, that is, nurturing inclusivity in a diverse world, and our topic is Happy Family. Before that, let me introduce you to SBP Integrasi Kuantan Intake team members with the topic Happy Family. I am Fatin Amani, and beside me here is Ahmad Razin. Alongside with us are Chef Firdaus, Fatin Safia over there, and last but not least, Miss Aiza, our teacher advisor. Nurturing inclusivity in a diverse world, and our topic is Happy Family. So, I am going to highlight definition of some words for clearer understanding. First, nurturing is to care for and protect something while they are growing, while inclusivity is the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be marginalized. And diverse world is a range of differences that compose people of cross-cultural and multinational. Sustainable Development Goal SDG 10 is to reduce inequality, which means that everyone has same rights. This is why it creates Happy Family, and we Impact are presenting on Happy Family by nurturing inclusivity in a diverse world. Now, our research is focusing on Malaysia. Right, let's talk about Malaysia. Malaysia is a multiracial country since it gained independence in 1957. It is a major Asian races live together: Malays, Chinese, and Indian, along with its natives Karazan and Bidayuh, to name a few, for the past 66 years of independence now. Right. Here in Malaysia, since its independence, Malaysia practices democracy where everyone has their rights. And despite of each races being different in religions, languages, customs, and food, everyone lives in harmony since then. Malaysia has been an example of a nation of a diverse world of multiracial that achieves equal access to all races. Next, our prior statements are Malaysia becomes family of multiracial for more than a half century now, despite of each races being different in religion, custom, and language. We are highlighting on what makes Malaysia develop peacefully and prosperously with its multiracial, and is well known to the world now. So, our objectives are to find out what unites the different races with different religions, language, customs, and food to live in harmony for years since it exists. And what happened to this nation development for the great past 66 years? You'll find out soon enough. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the methods we use to gain information for our research are: 1. A set of brief questionnaire of yes or no questions distributed to all forms from 1 to form 5 pupils and some teachers. 2. We also interviewed some pupils and teachers for some findings. And 3. We also read and watch documentations and programs on newspapers, television, and social medias, as they will learn more about Malaysia, and as this is the Malaysian Month of Independence. Now, for further analysis and findings, I'll pass over to my partner Shah to present our case study. Over to you, Shah.
Thank you, Amani. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant morning, everyone. I am Ahmad Firdaus bin Amaran, and I'm going to explain further our analysis and findings that we have gained from our research for nurturing inclusivity in a diverse world with our topic, Happy Family. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start by analyzing the level of our respondents being exposed with other races, their exposure to other races' religion, language, customs, and food. Also, their experiences celebrating festivals, living in the same neighborhood, and doing their daily routine in the same buildings and area. Then, we are finding reasons for how they handle everyone in peace, how they communicate and agree to a thing to maintain prosperity. From our questionnaire that was responded by 100 male and female aged 13 to 60 years old, these are our findings. For the questions about friends from different race, majority of the 78% of our respondents answered that they have friends from other race. We also found out that 68% of our respondents have attended festivals of other race. 58% of our respondents say that their neighborhood consists of mixed race, and 30% of our respondents say that they have family members with mixed race marriage. Almost all of our respondents said that they love other races' food, and 88% of our respondents enjoy other races' songs. 68% of our respondents said that they feel safe to be in the same buildings with other race, and 80% of our respondents said that they are comfortable to share opinions and ideas with other race. 86% of our respondents said that they have been helped by other race, and as you can see here, all of our respondents said that they will help other races who are in need at any time. With this, I'll pass our presentation to Ahmad Razin to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Shah. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. I, Ahmad Razin, will continue our team's presentation. When we asked for reasons on feeling comfortable among other races, our respondents answered with trust. As most of us know, the Chinese and Indians were brought here by the British a long time ago. In fact, they were here for more than a century before Malaysia's independence, and they helped to fight for its independence. Since then, they have been able to coexist and trust each other. They trust everyone is kind and all religions teach the same values. Our respondents also believe that respect plays a major role for Malaysians to live in harmony. Respecting each other's beliefs and understandings create a sense of joy and security. Another reason is tolerance, where Malaysians tolerate each other's customs and traditions. Next, we asked what helped them to practice those values. They said the government since Malaysia existed has done a great job. The Malaysian government consists of His Royal Highness at the top, and the rest of the government seeks advice from His Royal Highness. The Malaysian government has a set of clear rules and policies that are agreed upon by all, and not only that, the government also proved to fulfill all promises. The government also fit an official identity and practice such as Islam as the official religion, Bahasa Melayu as the official language, and of course, Malaysia as its official name. Last but not least, everyone in Malaysia has equal rights, as it is the base to Malaysia's democratic governing system. Each religion have their own religious houses, and they are free to celebrate their own festivals. Even in educational sectors, all languages are treated fairly. To conclude, our outcomes and findings show that to nurture inclusivity in a diverse world, we must have 1. A nation equipped with great trust, respect, and tolerance. And second, the government, they have to foster clear policies, practices, and rights with official identity and equal access to opportunities and resources. That is the key to one happy multiracial family. Now, to summarize, Malaysia has been an example of a happy family nation since its independence. In fact, the whole world acknowledges Malaysia as a peaceful and prosperous multiracial country. Only in Malaysia, a simple sentence with 3 languages can be easily understood. Macam, daripada kapal tu. And with that, we thank you.
Now, I would like to invite participants to ask any questions. I would like to invite judges to ask questions. Hi, could you please share how do you analyze your findings for the reasons? What kind of method do you use to analyze your findings, your data?
Oh.
Okay, can we get back to the slide on methods? Okay. For the way we analyze our outcomes and findings are like my friend Amani said before, questionnaires, mostly yes or no questions. Second, interviews with pupils and teachers aged from 13 to 60, I believe, Shah. Yes. And then observations, it is our own observation from set documentations, programs, newspapers, televisions, and etc. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, from your questionnaire, you mentioned that you are using about 100 participants, right? So currently, Malaysia, for 2023, I think our population is about 34.3 something millions. So do you think it's fair just to get just about 100 people, about 2% to conclude actually we are this and that just from 2% of the populations? Thank you.
Okay, for that question, first of all, our range was limited, obviously, but I believe that small few percentage is so important because not only the majority of the country have the same type of mindset. They think the same. And it's because of the unity that Malaysia has created. And it is these small few percentages that we are looking for, that we search for. Maybe they have problems, maybe they have advantages. And these are the percentage of people that we really seek to find answers from, because they are such a small percentage that we might overlook what they have to say. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, presenters from SBPI Integrasi Kuantan. And now let's hear from the third team, Sekolah Menengah Sains, Tuan SHEH Shahabuddin, to present their presentation. Ladies
And gentlemen,
racial discrimination within students is a problem that will bring negative effect as these students steps into their work life. So how do we solve this problem? Which parties are responsible for this issue, and how does the government take action? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant morning to the judges, the rapporteurs, the timekeeper, and the student moderator, and my dear audiences. I am Christina Patricia binti Muhammad Fazil, the main presenter.
I am Muhammad Aish bin Abdullah Surawi, the second presenter/moderator.
For SMS Inside SHEH Shahabuddin, and the topic of our presentation today is inclusivity of multiracial students in Malaysia. The aim of our presentation is to show ways of reducing racial discrimination within students. So, why reduce? Why not eliminate racial discrimination as a whole? Racial discrimination is a matter of perception, ideals, and things that goes against the norm, as well as something that is learned from the surroundings. Hence, why racial discrimination can only be reduced. Here are two scenarios. One is multiracial schools and another is vernacular schools. Multiracial schools are more open to teachers and students from diverse racial backgrounds. Thus, students are able to mingle around with other races and learn from their cultures. However, in vernacular schools, the distribution of races are focused mainly on targeted races. So students aren't able to socialize with people from other races within their school grounds. Even though these two scenarios are completely different, activities such as racial profiling and racial discrimination still exist in both scenarios. Even though multiracial schools are more open to other races, students still develop senses of stereotyping and insults from their surroundings. And if this racial case isn't solved and this attitude is brought onto their work life, they might just bring negative stereotypes about their own race. Students in vernacular schools have the tendency to treat classmates and students of different races as outcasts, and they might experience culture shock as they move on to their work life and they trample over cultures of other races.
So, ladies and gentlemen, statistics have shown that 2.5% is the government budget for Chinese primary schools. Indian schools only got 1%, while Malay schools got 96.5%. And as a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that 1 in 2 Malaysians experience racial discrimination? Kind of ironic, seeing that Malaysia's national identity is being a multiracial country, and yet rating second as one of the most racist countries in the world. So another thing to note is that Indian students faces the most discrimination, that is 87% compared to students of other races.
Now, knowing that the issue of racial discrimination does exist in school, what initiatives, what steps have been taken by the government to solve this issue?
So in short, the government actually has done nothing. So currently, the MOE has a framework to exercise discipline within the education service, but mostly what they're doing is they're promoting equality. They are merely just showing how we should unite our races together, but they're not actually solving the problems that currently exist. They're only showing why we should be together, but they're not solving the racial discrimination issues that occur in schools, which is what makes it a problem.
So we have so it is now up to us to reduce this issue, and schools should become good examples by taking in teachers from different racial backgrounds to introduce diversity to students. More joint classes and collaborations with other schools help students to mingle around with people from other races, and immediate actions should be taken when signs of racial assault, even as low as racial profiling, is shown. Since students spend a lot of time on social media, they are easily influenced by them. So people on social media play a crucial role in spreading awareness about racial discrimination. Parents, however, they play They should play their role by keeping track of the children's communication and showing good examples by respecting other races. So we have asked a few teachers regarding their opinions on racial discrimination, and we've asked questions about factors, effects, and the ways, the steps the school could take to nurture inclusivity within students. And here are the feedbacks. The feedbacks mostly talks about psychology, language barrier, and lack of communication being the leading factors of racial discrimination. The most effective way the school could take to reduce the racial discrimination is by grouping people of different races together when doing a group project or joining a competition. So here are the references, and that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
And now, I would like to invite our participants to ask some questions.
Okay, why when we talk about racism in Malaysia, and of course usually it will get to school, right, vernacular school, multiracial school, why we never raise the issue on the religious school? Because religious school basically in Malaysia, it will be sekolah Islam, and you will have sekolah pondok, and you will have all the Muslim and mostly almost 100% Malay. Doesn't this kind of conclude into the same what happened with the vernacular school? Why we, even you, why you don't raise this issue too? Why we just secluded it to multiracial and vernacular school? Why we never look into what the religious school have done in racism in Malaysia too? Thank you.
So to answer that question, religious schools in the first place, they existed a lot long before, way before vernacular and multiracial schools existed. One of the first earliest educations in Malaysia, or as I say Malaya, is the usage of pondok, and where they teach Islam. And mainly the main students targeted are the Muslim Malays of that area. So the reason why they don't take mu'allafs or people of other races for that is because they want to retain their rights as Malay Muslims. So that's one. So another thing is basically related to what, in terms of history and how it may go against the rules. So hope that answers your questions. Any other questions? Could you please go to the slide where you talk about MOE's initiative? There's a tiny question. Yeah, my question is, who is Jason Wee?
Basically, it's a politician who fights for the educational rights.
Yeah, I think it would be great if you could just mention that beforehand. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Are there any more questions from the audiences?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Warda from SBPI Baterakit. So for the SDG, it's about reduce inequality, but while you guys only solely focusing on education system, and there's a lot of other sectors that need to be focused on. Thank you. If we were to focus on every single sector within reducing inequality, then this presentation will not take 10 minutes. It's going to take a lot longer than that. And mainly the reason why we chose this topic is because racism is one of the big factors, one of the biggest issues in the world. When you look at a person, would you ask, are you a boy or a girl? No, you think, okay, so this person is black, this person looks Chinese. They think about what their race might be. So that's why we picked this topic. Hopefully that answers your question.
Analyst from RMC. So, if I'm not mistaken, you said that Malaysia is one of the most racist countries in the world. But actually, if we're comparing ourselves to America, for example, we often hear about shooting, how they treated black differently. So, I don't understand how Malaysia is one of the most racist countries because we actually don't often hear about those kind of cases. And I think Malaysia is actually stable.
So you see racial discrimination, when you think of racial discrimination, do you always think of shootings or actual physical assault? No, because there are also other ways of assaulting them racially, basically through racial insults. Now, it may sound like a small thing, but it does take a toll on their mental health, which is why Malaysia still holds second in the racial index. And also another thing to note is that not all of these racial cases are reported to the police. Not all of these are surfaced into the news. Most of these, and just for your information, all of our findings were from testimonies who have once been students, who have once experienced these things, but never reported it to anybody of power. So basically, racial discrimination, they're not shown in the news very widely because they don't want to report it. So instead, they just keep it to themselves. And what happens then? From students all the way to adults, they keep that all within them, and then they just develop more senses, like the representative said about being racist towards other people in their work life.
Thank you, presenters, for the wonderful presentation. And now, let's hear from the fourth team. Sekolah Menengah Agama Bersekretariat LABU to present their presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, let me remind you, this is not a man versus woman issue. It is about a people versus prejudice. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I bid to the honorable judges and all members of the floor. I'm Shaima, and this is my partner in crime here, and we are from SMAP LABU. Today we would like to talk about our topic, which is cracking the gender code, overcoming workplace discrimination. Before we go any further, let me explain these terms. What is gender code? Gender code is when you assign a specific traits to a specific gender. For an example, people nowadays usually associate female with the words like loyal, caring, and understanding, while the male, on the other hand, they associate them with the words like competitive, dominating, and courageous. What if I tell you if gender code could actually lead to discrimination? Discrimination, it is when you give an unfair treatment to individuals or groups based on certain characteristics, such as race, gender, religion. Now, let's look at this Global Gender Gap Report 2023. This report compiles and released by the World Economic Forum every year. Countries are ranked between 0 as the lowest possible gender equality to 1 as the highest possible gender equality. Now, this report measures extent among 4 key dimensions, which is educational attainment, health and survival, the political empowerment, and economic participation and opportunity. As we all can see, the first three key dimensions have increased from the year 2022 to 2023. However, for economic participation and opportunity, it decreased from the year 2022 to 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, let's zoom into Southeast Asia. As we all can see on this slide, Malaysia ranked 100 on Global Index 2023, which is the second lowest in Southeast Asia. I repeat, Malaysia ranked the second lowest in Southeast Asia with their index is 0.68. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, where our problem lies. For the next slide, as we all can see, this can be seen on the reference newspaper. Now we decided to focus our research to gender discrimination. Our main objectives for this research are first to determine workers' perception on gender discrimination. We also want to determine the effects of gender discrimination, and third, we want to identify the factors that causes gender discrimination. Now, for the research methodology and instruments, we decided to use a quantitative research design with a two-set of questionnaire, which is the first set of questions for the workers, while the second set of questionnaire for the managers. Both questionnaires were adapted from the past research. The first set of questionnaire, which is meant for the workers, have a total of 34 questions, when the second set questionnaire, which is for the managers, have around 28 questions. From our research outcomes, we could see that a total amount of respondents, which is the employees, we have collected 160 respondents with their age range from 18 to 65 years old. While the second survey, which is meant for the managers, we have collected the amount of 15 respondents with their age range from 25 to 65 years old. From our findings, we could see that these graphs are the response from our respondents. The first one is indicate for the strongly disagree. So the first one is meant for strongly agree. Let me explain about this statement. Men and women who does the same job get paid equally. Well, almost all of our respondents respond that 1, 2, and 3 as their answer. This means that there might, as we often see, it might seem that gender equality is there in the workplace. But if we look at it a bit closer, there's still a gender discrimination that happens in the workplace. It is also still applied to the men and women who have equal opportunities for wage increase. As we also can see on this graph, it is also the same from the earlier graph, which is many of them are not sure whether the equal are there. So that means it might be possible that gender discrimination is there that happen in the workplace. Now, what are the effects on the employees who experience this discrimination? Well, first, they will get a lower wage and equal treatment. They also will get a lesser chance of promotion. But what are the effects on managers who discriminate their workers? Well, they will get decreased workplace productivity, monetary loss, and criminal charges. But what are the factors that make the discriminated their employees? The factors might be because of their family background, peer influence, past experience, and course mindset.
So, how can we overcome this problem? Well, we present to you a solution. Introducing the Gender Equality Merit System, GEMS. GEMS is a system made to ensure occupational equality for all employees. Our main objectives for GEMS is to provide the best and unbiased results by not looking at their gender or race, but we're looking at the qualities of the employee, such as their capabilities, their qualification, their training, and their experience. We want to find the right person for the job without discrimination. We also want to encourage gender equality in the working environment so we could give fair opportunities to all employees. Now, I will explain how the standard operating procedures of GEMS. First things first, every employee that joins the company must set up an account. This account will have a unique ID number that will be inputted into the system. This account will also have all the essential information of the employee, including the department they're in or the capabilities that they have. Of course, we will not show the employees' names as to avoid any gender or racial or any other discrimination. Next, all employees will also be provided with fair and equal training across all relevant aspects depending on the department they're in. This is so we can prepare an equal footing ground for all employees to build their essential working skills. In order to receive the training, the companies will do partnerships and collaborations with training providing companies such as MAKTAB, Universal Minds, and HRDF. A month after the training, merits will be taken in. These merits will be generated based on the capabilities, qualifications, the experience, personality, and work performance. An employee will be chosen either for promotion or for assignation of tasks or training opportunities based on their merits. At the end of the day, employees will be able to see their merit counts and read comments or summaries or reviews by their employers for jobs they've done so they could identify their mistakes and further improve for the next job. And with that, we conclude our presentation for today. We hope that with this system, people will be given fair opportunities and things will be more equal between the two genders. We want to ensure that everyone gets rewarded appropriately for all of their hard work and efforts. We know that this discrimination can't be ended, but we want to at least lessen the effects of it. That is all from us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now, I would like to invite any of the participants to ask questions.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Akila from Frsis. So I really like your suggestion on the system, the gender equality system. But I wanted to ask, in your opinion, on perhaps a smaller scale, those perhaps take for example in the workplace, there might be seniors, the people who above you who support the patriarchy, quote unquote, as in like they think men should lead. And so on a smaller scale, perhaps if you were like a new employee, what could we do in order to change this mindset?
So your question is, when there's the seniors who still has the idea of this discrimination, so what can we do as new employees to fight this idea?
So like we might not can change their mindset because of sometimes when we intend to change their mindset, it couldn't because of their ego itself. Well, this is why the system exists, because of the system is generated by itself, which is we just insert our employees' infos and stuff, but we didn't include their names and such. So if the seniors are practicing patriarchy and such with such a mindset, well, this will get rid of because the system doesn't count of that. So like, if they like it or not, the system will show the best workers that will get the job. Is that answer your question?
Could you please go to the slides about the questionnaire? Yeah, my question is about your respondents. Do they come from the same industry? And how do you ensure the validity and reliability of your data? Because if they come from different industry, they may have different experiences and such. So how do you ensure the validity and reliability?
So for our research, we decided to use a quantitative research because it could get a larger respondents. When it could get a larger respondent, we could also generalize it to the all. So like you said, what if they come from the different industry, right? So like if it comes from the different industry, our main objectives are still the same. It is to apply the gender equality. Like as far as we know, nearly all of the industry in Malaysia have this problem, which is they always have a gender bias in their work. It doesn't matter if it's like a nurse or a police, like we all can do what we want actually. So we decided to use this design of research because we think it will be the most reliable to do our research. And so we come up with the solution which is the GEMS.
Thank you, presenters from SMAP LABU. And now, I would like to invite SBPI Integrasi TEMERLOH to present the presentation.
Most of us will used to believe that autistic person is a creature that lacks in terms of everything. They are known to be useless, unreliable, weird, and unemotionless. But is it true? Assalamualaikum to the honorable judges, honorable keepers, and fellow audience. We are representatives from Integrated School of TEMERLOH will present to you and discuss on the topic autism as a difference or defect under the sub-theme nurturing inclusivity in a diverse world. But before that, I would like to introduce our team members. I am Amar Muklis and my friend Muhammad Ashraf, after that Umar Shamina, and lastly Amira Humaira. So moving on to the definition. So what do we know about autism? According to National Institute of Mental Health, stated that the definite explanation by them is autism is a neurological and developmental disorder that affects how people interact with others, communicate, learn, and behave. To explain it in much simpler terms, we can say that autism is when someone has trouble communicating and understanding on what other people think and feel. Unfortunately, this community has trouble in this This committee has been going through some issues that can lead to inharmonious and unhealthy environment.
Thank you very much, Amir. Now I will continue on with the problem statement. So first of all, as you can see here, people with autism are separated from normal people, either in schools, community, or even workplace. You see, people with autism have difficulty in making friends. This is because they get easily overwhelmed or frustrated when they try to develop and sustain friendships. Second of all, parents deny their children being autistic. Because of that, they refuse to take their child to seek advice from experts, resulting in their child not getting the treatment that they needed. And finally, they didn't get the chance to interact or socialize with other people. This is because normal people put up a wall between them and the autistic people. And to make it worse, the lack of acceptance and understanding from society makes them feel even more excluded than they already are.
So this is some of our objectives of this topic. So the first one is to change society mindset to accept autistic people is a part of the human spectrum. The second one is to prove autistic people can be independent and reliable. And the last one is to remove negative impressions and misunderstandings about people without disabilities.
So, according to the questionnaire, we the questionnaire that we conducted, we asked majority people, do they agree to exclude people with autism from the community? And as you can see, 88% agree to exclude people with autism from the community, and leaving 12% in disagreeing to exclude people with autism from the community. This shows that the majorities are not on the same rule as us, and we need to fix that.
So we had made a questionnaire to make a research about how community perceive on autistic people. So as you can see here, we have separated in 3 parts, which includes feelings, way they socialize, and their behavior. So we go through the lowest percentage, which is their way to socialize. So as we all know, people with autistics, they prefer to be in a small group rather than in a crowded place. They also feel like social situations are overwhelming and difficult. So we move to the feelings of autistic people. They usually feeling all emotions are same and as an anger. Some of the autistic people easily have a tantrum, which caused because of distress or something that keep disturbing them. And the last one is the autistic's behavior. As we all know, autistic's behavior is different from autistic people. They refuse or ignore the request from someone else and prefer to concentrate with something else. This is the problem with interactions and communications between autistic people and normal people. So, okay, we move to the next slides.
So how do we overcome the problem? We have listed a few methods, and one of them is by doing early intervention programs. There are numerous ways to conduct it, and some of them are by doing family training, speech therapy, physical training, and even nutrition services.
The second one is more allocations from the government. So we are suggesting, recommended the government to build up more facilities such as special education schools to accommodate the special needed children that has been increasing ever since. Then we also recommend the government to provide a subsidy to help the low-income family to train their autistic child.
Next is to spread awareness using media platforms such as through posters and even making videos to spread symptoms of autism at early age so that parents can sharpen their children's ability at early stage and so that they can do more great things in the future. Then lastly, partnerships and collaborations between organizations can increase communities' awareness in certain issues. For example, Autism Speaks had collaborated with Council Public, and it resulted in 50% increase in autism awareness.
So this method has been proven by parents that manage to recognize the symptoms of their children and get an early intervention programs and recommendation from the expert, and resulting their child to memorize 30 constituents or the whole Quran at just the age of 8. So before we end our presentation, I would like to present to you a song that is written by Johnny to his friend Candy Speaks, who had 2 autistic children.
Maybe I don't speak too well, but I'm coming out of my shell. And I like playing by myself. If you can't tell, I like to go to school. Yeah, I'm a miracle, and I'm glad to be alive. If you wait patiently, well then eventually.
So because of time, I would like to highlight a phrase which is my autism is like an evil. So stated by the writer, he said that autism was a metaphor for the autistic children, and they feel like they cannot get out of it, and they they cannot get out of it and need to bring it for all their lifetime. So in conclusion, we, from the bottom of our heart, we hope that everybody accept the autism community as part of the human spectrum and take it as a good thing, not as a defect. Also, the reason being is because that's all for my country. So we move on into the next session.
Hello, my name is Abang Shah from the Academy. I have a question. You were saying that one of the methods to overcome the problems you stated was to allocate, was for the government to allocate facilities or subsidies to accommodate these autistic children. what kind of facilities you are trying to point out to truly benefit the growth of these autistic children? Thank you.
Thank you for the good question. We recommended the government, as stated before, as we mentioned earlier, we recommended the government to build up more special education schools. As you know, in Malaysia, we have already have 2,500 plus special education schools in Malaysia. However, this quantity may seem low and not enough to accommodate the special needed children. So, especially at the remote areas and outside of the city.
Assalamualaikum. Actually, this is one of the topics that come into my heart because I have an autism kid, not really kids now, he's 20, and I'm actually the chairman of Terengganu Autism Society. So I just have one question because we've been advocating for autism awareness around Terengganu and also in Malaysia, but we always have one question sometimes from the government parts. When we look into statistics, we have only about 1% of autism kids here in Malaysia currently. So there are questions arise. Why do we need to spend more? Why the government should give more allocations just to cater for just about 1% of these people, or just 1% of the autistic kids? So do you have any idea, opinions? Why?
So this shows that even 1%, they are also a part of human spectrum, and we don't want to exclude them from the human from the community. And yes, 1% is also important to help them in every certain way. Just one question. Just now you mentioned about International Hafiz Academy, so institution, right? Okay, so this is one of the, I would say, success stories. So when it comes to autism, it is beyond colors, beyond races. So what are about other races? What are the efforts made? And what are some of the stories or news that you have researched on? Because not everybody can go to Hafiz. Yeah, Hafiz Academy, right?
So as we have been doing research day and nights, we found out that one of the biggest companies in this world, Microsoft, has a program for the autistic person, which allow them to hire even though they have autism. The result, we know that Microsoft are one of the biggest blue chips company. So resulting that shows that diversity can make a team more innovative. We also found Indian Malaysian, which is a singer, and had studied abroad, like to write a song.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aisha DBB from Arbak from Integrated School of TEMERLOH. My question is, based on the questionnaire that you have conducted, the majority stated that they wanted to exclude the autism people in the workplace. And based on the questionnaire that has been conducted, who were the targeted respondents?
Okay, so the questionnaire we conducted is actually including 7 years old students
until 36 years old. So the reason being is because we want to collect much more opinion, no matter what age they are. So because why so many agree with that, or why so many disagree? Okay, so who are the included? Who is the targeted groups? We targeted teachers, lecturers, also students, also non-working parents.
Thank you, presenters from SBPI Integrasi TEMERLOH. And now I would like to invite from the last team of this session, Sekolah Menengah Sains Vocational to present their presentation.
We, representatives from Sekolah Menengah Sains SENA, represent you research that we have conducted entitled Bridging the Inequality Gaps, Inclusivity of Gender and Academic Status. My name is Muhammad Muaz bin Ahmad Sofian, the first presenter from Sekolah Menengah Sains SENA. And these are the representatives from our schools. We have Adik Beno bin Abdul Rahim, and lastly Noran Akila bin Tikirudin. And our beloved supervising teacher is Teacher Shahani bin Tisharizan. So in this presentation, we will explain briefly on the problem statement, our research objectives, the research questions, our research methodology, analysis of data, and the findings. We will also present you the recommendation that we have get from the past research. So now, let's proceed with our slides. So, Batisha, do you know what does inequality mean? So according to core 2020 research, inequality can be defined as the occurrence and anomaly of unequal distributions of resources and opportunities among members of a given society. Simply said here, when the other gender or the opposite gender are getting more privilege or prioritized over another gender, this will lead to inequality gaps. So the main focus of our research is to find whether gender and academic status inequality really existed in our school. So gender inequality is discrimination on the basis of sex, while income inequality is the unequal distribution of income and opportunity between different groups in society. And now let's move to our research objectives. So the purpose of our research is to find whether gender and different academic inequalities really create gaps in education. And next, we also would like to find did gender and academic inequalities affect the students' performance in learning. And we also would like to find, is there any relationship between the gender, academic status, and the students' performance in study? And lastly, the ways to nurture inclusivity between gender and different academic status in education. So now let's move to our problem statement. So in the year 2014, Linda had mentioned in her study, due to the prevalence of traditional viewpoint and perspective, girls are not only deprived from acquisition of education, but also in attaining self-independence. Simply said here, boys are getting more privilege or prioritized compared to girls. For example, in most undeveloped countries, boys have higher opportunities to further their study at a higher educational level, while girls are remain in the kitchen. And there are also stereotypes that affect the professional actions. So stereotypes have become vital issues that have been revolving around. For example, in most big company or famous company,
most of the highest position in those companies often been dominated by the males, while the females are being in the low position. But the question is, did gender inequality create gaps between students? So in the year 2012, Abu Bakar and Baba have mentioned in their study that gender is another factor that can be assumed to affect the students' academic score considerably. And many studies have shown that boys and girls perform differently. So now we can conclude that gender inequality really creates gaps between students.
Followed by income inequality. According to law in the year 2019, income inequality has always been an important issue all over the world. It is an unequal percentage held by the income held by the populations that there was a small group of people was taking over control on the large amount of the country's income. Income inequality, as you can see in Malaysia, depending on the economic status, there are three classifications, with the lowest income group, the B40, and the middle class M40, and the highest T20. As we can see, T20 is considered as the small group of people that taking over control on the most amount of the country's income. So, our question here, did economic status inequality create gaps between students? According to Andrew Woon in the year 2020, the data from the Ministry of Education shows that in the year 2011 alone, 20,000 students dropped out of secondary school, even before completing the SPM exams. And most of these students, you can see, they came from a B40 low-income group.
Now we move to the effects of gender and economic status inequality on students. So this inequality gaps is resulting in achievement gaps. So what is exactly achievement gap is? So according to SES 2022, achievement gap occurs when one group of students, grouped by race or ethnicity or gender, outperforms another group of students. And the difference in average score for the two groups is statistically significant. So achievement gap in education refers to the differences in academic achievement between groups of students.
This achievement gap would hinder the students from actively progress in their learning. Their motivation would also decline as they face personal problems such as gender and income inequality. Well, according to Judith and the works in the year 2021, females have higher educational attainment compared to the males. And now, we will go through our findings. The research method we have used is a mixed method research that comprises both quantitative and qualitative data analysis. According to Mertens in the year 2003, we should use this research method to get a clear understanding of our research problems.
So in our research, we have 4 research questions. So for the first and the second research question, we use the survey question. So we have constructed 15 survey questions for the students and teachers, and we have distributed to the respondents. And for the third research question, we have used Pearson correlation coefficient to study the relationship between the variables and to find the correlation. And for the last research question, which is the fourth research questions, we have done an interview with 3 experienced teachers.
So, our respondents, we have done a purposive samplings, and 85 of our male respondents came from both Form 4 and Form 5. And we have done the same to our female respondents as well, with 85 of them both coming from Form 4 and Form 5. And as you can see here, this is our demographic background, with 85% of our respondents mostly coming from Kedah, and the other percentage is from the other states. From the data analysis, which is the first research question here, did gender and different economic inequalities really create gaps in education? And we have asked our students these questions. The first is, I feel like the opposite gender is superior than mine. With that being said, 35% of our students respondents stated that they do sometimes feel like the opposite gender is superior than their own gender. Now we move on to the next question. I used to borrow my friend's money, and you can see from the pie chart here, 52% of our respondents stated that they sometimes had the need to borrow their friend's money. And now we will go to the second research question, which is for the teachers. our question here, did gender and economic inequalities affect the students' performance in learning? And the first question is, the students' performance is affected by their parents' income. 59% of our teachers responded that sometimes the students' performance in class was affected by their own parents' income. And the next question is, I think girls are better than boys. 61% of the teachers responded that they sometimes do had feelings that teaching girls in class was better than teaching the boys.
So, our first research question and the second research question is more supported by this third research question. So, our third research question is there any relationship between the gender, academic status, and the students' performance in study? So, we had run a statistical analysis by using the SPSS. We have used the Pearson correlation coefficient to study the relationship between the variables for gender and achievement. As we can see here, the result indicates a significant positive relationship between gender and achievement, with P is equal to 0.032, which is less than 0.05. And we also have the same to the academic status. And we also can see the result also indicates a significant positive relationship between academic status and achievement, with P is equal to 0.007, which is less than 0.01. From this data, we can conclude that both academic status and gender inequalities really have a significant positive relationship with students' performance in study.
And for our last research question, which is the interviews we have done for the teachers, these are the questions we asked them. On what are ways to nurture inclusivity between gender and different economic status in education? And the first teacher stated that, in my opinion, to nurture inclusivity in classroom, we can provide the student with the sense of belonging and open welcoming environments to the students. And the second teacher has stated that they should make an icebreaker activity for the students to get to know one another. The teachers should value and respect all of the students, and they should appreciate the students' ideas and contributions. And this is ultimately analysis on the ways to nurture inclusivity with the gender and different economic status in education. As for the teachers at school, they should provide inclusive teaching, celebrate the difference, recognize different talents in each of the students, and to include the students in decision-making activities. And as for the students, they should socialize more with their family and relatives and to practice proper time management skills.
Now we move to our recommendations. So this recommendation is based on the past research. So we have provided 3 recommendations on what schools, teachers, and students can do. So for the teachers should create a great rapport and bonding with all the students, and also create a conducive and healthy environment in class. And for the schools, Parent and Teachers Association can provide higher allocation for funding to improve school facilities and provide free items for the students, such as free textbook or free uniforms or other items that are needed by the students. And lastly, for the students should communicate with others and try to discuss with them ways on how to solve the existing problem. And second, they should improve their holistic skills, which will help to advance their achievement both internally and externally. And lastly, engage in other activities and tasks. This will also enhance their academic achievement. And now is our reference. So these are the list of our reference that we refer to. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.
And now I would like to invite any of other participants to ask some questions.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Easy and quick question. How do you get the thematic analysis? Thank you.
Okay, so after we had done the interview, we analyzed the qualitative data, and then we recognize the code, and then we categorize the code, and then we categorize it under the thematic analysis. Hope that's answer your question. Okay, so your research is based on the students and the teachers in your school, right? So you have mentioned some of the recommendations on what are the things that the schools can do. So maybe could you please share with us, with the audience, on what are the efforts made by Sekolah Menengah Sains Pokok SENA in terms of promoting inclusivity? What are the programs that you have done? And in your opinion, what is the performance of the school in terms of inclusivity? Sorry? Yeah, I mean like you talk about the recommendations, right? So you as a student in SENA, okay, could you please share with us, okay, so far you have been in the school for 4 years, right? So what are the efforts, what are the programs, what are the activities done by SENA, the school itself, to promote inclusivity? Because you have different races, right, in your school. Okay, so could you please share with us?
So what have our school done to promoting inclusivity? So as I mentioned earlier, Parent and Teachers Association of our schools have provided allocation for funding for the students who are need, such as Project House. So they have allocated for around 600 ringgit for a month for the students. A year for the students who are coming from different income groups. And for the teachers have done many activities to create a conducive and healthy environment in class. Some of it is, maybe we can say that teachers have done an experience to strengthen our bonding in our between our batchmates. So that's all.
The question that I want to ask is that based on your recommendations, you stated that you want to do more collaborating, more communication, more giving the platform to voice out their opinions and so on. But how does that reduce the inequality between gender?
So as I said earlier, communicate with them. Students should communicate with others. So in a positive communication, there must be a two ways or two-side communication. So you must have a respondents and you giving your opinion. So when there is a great communication between those two, you can create a relationship. Strong and healthy communications between those two people. I think that's all.
Thank you to presenters of Sekolah Menengah Sains Pokok SENA. Thank you to all schools for the informative and fascinating presentation, and also a big thank you to the judges and also audience for your precious times.